Come on. There we go. Okay, I think we're live on here. Make sure our Instagram's live. Okay, we are all set. I had another topic lined up for today, but due to all of the information about this avian flu and all of that information, I thought we would do a Facebook Live today talking about what we know so far, answer any of your questions. If you wanted to post any questions, I'll be happy to either answer on the spot, or if I need to do more research or get up with one of our reps, I can definitely get your questions answered. But since this has hit the news, I wanted to really pay close attention to it because it is very important to us. Of course, the safety of your animals is very important to us, and we want to make sure that there is no avoidable risk that we could be educating you guys about. And so just wanted to kind of review. So first of all, I'll go over this. If you have not seen this information, if you've not been in the know, here's what happened. Northwest Naturals, there was a customer feeding Northwest Naturals cat food, turkey. It was a 2-pound bag. And that cat passed away fairly suddenly. And I guess had symptoms, although information hasn't really come out what the symptoms were, but it prompted the doctor to test both the cat and what the cat was eating for avian flu. So I'm assuming that the symptoms must have been consistent with avian flu. And they tested both the open bag of Northwest Naturals and the cat, did a necropsy, and found that the genome sequencing for avian flu was positive in the cat food and in the cat. And it was the same genome sequencing for both for the avian flu. And this, the assumption by the vet is that the cat then contracted the avian flu from the bag of food. And so this all happened like the day before New Year's Eve timeframe. And the information was kind of choppy at best. And it was likely because of the holiday. People were going on vacation, holiday vacations, not readily available. And so the information was somewhat limited. And unfortunately, a recall was requested by Northwest Naturals based on the testing of that open bag of food. Here is why that's really important. That goes against FDA protocol. They are supposed to be testing unopened bags of food, and all of these manufacturers hold product from each lot. They test and hold, but then they have product on hand so that if something comes up, they can test the unopened product. So they had product on hand, but were not requested to test it. And they have been contacting the state of Oregon where this happened, requesting that they please, their independent laboratories come and take the food and test it. And so far, I have not heard that that has happened, but that is what should have happened before a recall was prompted, because an open bag of food can be contaminated, not on purpose, obviously, but it can be from human contamination. The cat itself could have somehow contaminated the bag of food if it was left open for the cat to get into. So there are several different ways that this food could have gotten contaminated if it was an open bag of food that they had been feeding from. Doesn't necessarily mean that it was the fault of the manufacturer or that it was included in the food when the food was manufactured. What we do know about this pet food is that the supplier of the meat source, turkey, to Northwest Naturals does clear their flocks for bird flu before they process the meat and then ship it to the manufacturer. The testing for bird flu is done at the supplier level, not at the manufacturer level. There's no manufacturer level testing at this point. And I suspect that will change maybe, but currently there is not testing at the manufacturer level, only at the supplier level. So it was cleared for bird flu. Then it came to the manufacturer and they put it through their process. They use HPP processing, which is a high pressure processing that burst bacteria molecules. And it's been shown to be successful on similar viruses, to also be a kill step for viruses. So it was put through HPP as well. So it was shown clear at the supplier level for bird flu before processing. And then it was formulated at Northwest Naturals and put through HPP processing as a kill step for bacteria and viruses. And then it has been live out in the market for 5 months, I believe, between 4 and 5 months, and has been fed without incident to tons of kitty cats. It was 2,000 pounds of cat food. So you can imagine that was fed to a lot of kitty cats, and there's not been any more reports of illnesses. And so that is the single incident. And it's odd. It is really odd. Doesn't mean it didn't happen. Doesn't mean it's not possible. I imagine anything is possible, but it certainly is very interesting. And we are all anxiously awaiting the testing of the unopened bags of food to see what is found in those. But so far at this point, it's only tested positive in that one opened bag of food. So what does this mean? We've had a lot of customers who feed raw pet food to their kitty cats, and they're understandably worried. We all love our pets. We want to do what's right for them, and want to do the absolute best that we can. And I've had several customers who've asked me, do I think that raw feeding is still safe and the best way to feed animals? And my answer is yes, I absolutely do think it is safe. I do think it is actually safer than kibble feeding, because there's a certain allowable amount of bacteria that is allowed to be in kibble. There is no bacteria threshold for raw food. They cannot have any traceable amounts of salmonella. So I think it's actually safer. It's held to a higher standard than kibble. So for that matter, I do think it is still very safe. I think that this is an extremely isolated incident. I definitely want to see the testing as it comes about. I really hope that it does come about, because it would be very interesting to see how this all does go down. Now, ways that you contract avian flu. Humans can get it. Dogs can get it. However, dogs are not as susceptible. And cats are showing to be more susceptible. And there's definitely some sanctuaries where cats have contracted it and died. But it is passed mostly through bird poop. And so if your cat's walking around outside and they walk through the path of some bird feces, they can get it on their paws and lick their paws. And that tends to be the way it is most contracted. For kitty cats, doesn't mean they can't contract it in this situation, although it seems awfully, you might have had a better chance of winning the lottery. It seems awfully odd that you would have a supplier that clears the meat source as negative for avian flu, then also have the HPP process in place and still find it, and only find it in one bag of food. Would be a lot of really high level chances. But again, we're going to see what the testing shows. But at this point, I do feel like raw feeding is extremely safe. I feel like it is the most biologically appropriate diet for your pets. But if you want to avoid some things, here are some things to consider. You can switch to a gently cooked. There are gently cooked diets available for cats. If you really are feeling incredibly scared, you can switch to a canned diet if your cat will accept it. You could also switch to a freeze-dried. Now, here's the thing to know about freeze-dried. Freeze-dried raw is still raw. It's just had the moisture removed through a very cold process. It's not going to necessarily, it is like feeding raw. You're going to have to rehydrate it, and it doesn't necessarily kill viruses. However, our freeze drieds have also been through the HPP process. So again, offers you a different mode of feeding, a raw diet, just in a different way. You can avoid feeding poultry and avoid feeding cattle. So that would be things more like maybe rabbit or feeding a fish-based diet. Those are ways that you could avoid it as well, because an avian flu positive poultry will pass it through their meat and could potentially, maybe, pass it through the diet to your pet, or to your cat specifically. Again, this is the first time this has ever happened. And so this is very new instance with a lot of up in the air questions that we're all asking and wanting to know the answer to. What I do know on a personal level, because I happen to be in a professional organization with the store owner that sold the pet food to this customer, the cat is listed as strictly indoors. However, the cat goes outside on a leash and does have dog fur siblings. So while the cat does live indoors and does not roam around unsupervised, it doesn't mean that the cat doesn't go outdoors. So again, some information that's been coming out about that is that they initially said that it was a strictly indoor cat. And that's not exactly the case. There are spaces in which this cat could have contracted avian flu by being outside, walking around on its leash. So those are kind of some basics. I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have. I do really feel like raw is very, very safe, held to a very high standard, stricter standards than kibble. And I really believe that all of the raw companies have been very fast to react. All of our companies have put out statements about their suppliers and about their processing, how they handle avian flu on their end. And I can say that we don't necessarily always see that when you have a kibble recall for salmonella or, recall for excess vitamin D. You don't see a reaction from all the kibble manufacturers. You literally just see it from that one kibble manufacturer or that one canned food manufacturer. So I think that has been comforting, that everybody has their eyes on this and they are being extremely proactive and making sure they're avoiding any misstep and trying to keep pets as safe as possible. I want to be very clear that there's absolutely no mode of feeding your pet or yourself that is 100% safe. We're always at risk of contracting bacteria or viruses from what we eat. That is the nature of the beast. We do not live in a sterile world. So it is very important to be aware of the ways in which you can contract things, the way your pets can contract things. We also try to be very aware of what the trends are, the information that's out there, so we can give all the most current information to you guys. I don't know how else to relay to you guys that we're just watching at this point and waiting for more information. But unless or until we see additional bags tested, we don't really have a way of confirming how this kitty cat, unfortunately, contracted avian flu and passed away. We know that it came from the we assume that it came from the opened bag of Northwest Naturals that did test positive for the avian flu. But as to how that got in that bag of food, we will not know until these other bags are tested. And as soon as we know that information, Northwest Naturals will certainly provide us with that information. We do not sell Northwest Naturals. Doesn't mean we don't sell their cat food. Doesn't mean we don't agree with them. We think that they're a great company. We just don't have room for them in our freezers. We do sell their freeze-dried treats, but we do not sell their frozen product for cats or for dogs. But again, they're an upstanding raw company. It's not a matter of not wanting to. It's just a matter of not having enough space. but they are a great company, and we feel like they have really good ethics and really good policies in place. So that's what makes this so shocking. Okay. To any of you guys, I know some of you guys are watching. If you have questions, let me know. I'm happy to answer any questions, help calm any fears that you might have. We will continue to stay ahead of the game on this. If you are feeling uncomfortable and you want to transition to something that's cooked, we'll be happy to help you review some of the options. We don't currently carry any gently cooked by cats, but I believe that's something that we will be bringing in soon. We were already looking in that direction before this, but if that's something that interests you, we can obtain some gently cooked for cats. If that, again, helps calm your fears. We understand these things are scary, and they're more scary when you don't know the back end workings of pet food and the supply chains and how all of these things work. It can be really scary because you want to do the best thing for your pets. And we try very hard here to guide you on the best things for your pets. So it's why this is all very important to us as well. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can offer you guys. I had made a few notes. But I think that's about all I have. As we gain more information, I'll continue to put more information out on our social media and send out emails, and of course, let our employees know. Our employees all have the information about this recall and about what happened. So if you forget anything or want refresher, you can talk to any of our employees. I've put out all the information to them. So they are up to date and current on everything as well. So there you go. There's no 100% foolproof safe method of feeding. There just isn't. I wish I could say that there is, but I can tell you what we do carry is the safest pet food around, and is, as safe as you possibly can be for your pets. And we work really hard to ensure that the manufacturers that we're working with all meet our standards and all meet our safety protocols, so that we are bringing you what we feel like is the best quality for the best price and the safest pet food that you can obtain for your pet. So know that we work really hard to keep that stock safe for you guys. Okay, well, if you have any additional questions, I don't think anybody has posted anything, but if you have any additional questions, or if you're watching this after I've gone off the live video, you're definitely able to post some things here. I'll be watching the comments and answering any questions you might have. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Ron. One of my adopters, Ron Long. Thank you so much, and I'm so glad you guys have Bruno. You guys have been a great home for him. Okay, guys. Well, you take care. If you have questions, please don't hesitate to post them here in the comments. You can message us on social media. I stay tuned into those messages as well. But we are absolutely here to help. And if you feel uncomfortable with feeding raw, we understand. We know it's scary. We can help you find an alternative if you need it. But I just want you to know that I don't feel like it's unsafe. And I am pretty concerned about some of the lack of consistency in how this all went down. I don't feel like they did all that they should have done before they called for a recall. And so I'm hoping that gets done now that the holidays are over, and we will circle back when those results are in and let you guys know what is found. And on a much better note, we are busy up here at both store locations, and we're starting to plan for our January and February events. So please stay tuned to our social media channels as Nicole starts getting all of our events posted. And we have our annual yard sale coming up at the end of January. So definitely look out for all of those details. And we will talk to you guys very soon. Have an awesome weekend. Oh, and we have Paw Thaw out at both store locations if you're in need of some safe ice melt, just in case it gets icy this weekend, as there's a chance for that. Y'all stay safe this weekend, and we'll see you next week.